This is quiz help, quiz questions from the quiz from this packet, this send home packet that was given, or on my website. And I did originally tell you quite some time ago to cross out 3, 4, 5, 6, and 12. So that some time ago I told you to cross out 3, 4, 5, 6, and 12. All right. I'm going to help you with 7 on through 13. I'm hoping you can do 1 and 2 on your own. And I'm going to have to use some separate piece of paper because there's not enough room for me to show work. Okay, so if you may want to do a separate piece of paper as well, that is up to you. Okay, number 7. DE equals 4 and CE equals 8. What is the radius? Okay, so I'm going to redraw that circle. There's D, there's E, there's C, there's F, and there's the radius. Now, I know I didn't do a very good job, but imagine that there is the center of the circle. Okay, so now in one of the worksheets I did some time ago, it was like lesson 12.2, 12.3 maybe, we talked about what happens if, it was on one of the homework questions, what happens if the radius and what happens with the radius and a tangent line. If this is a tangent line and this is a radius, what's always going to happen? Well, I'm going to remind you that imagine this line going out here. It intercepts this arc here, which is a semicircle, which is 180, and you take half of that inside your angle, this is 90. So just a heads up, if you forgot, if it's a tangent line and a radius, it's going to make a 90-degree angle every single time. All right, and you can use that a lot on this quiz. All right, so it says DE is 4, DE is 4, CE is 8, so CE, all of this here is 8. What is the radius? You can use Pythagorean's theorem. Can you see that? R squared plus 4 squared equals 8 squared. R squared plus 4 squared equals 8 squared. And that's it. 8 is the hypotenuse, so you would do R squared plus 16 equals 64. You should have your calculator. You would do 64 minus 16, and you get 48. Square root both sides. I'm going to let you finish here. Just a reminder, we don't do plus or minus on these because we're dealing with side length. You would have to break it down and get it into simplest radical form. Break it down, take out your pairs, and you're good. I got you almost pretty much to the end. You just have to break it down on your own. Okay, so that there was number 7. Okay, next one I want to talk about is number 8. And number 8's pretty tricky. So I will get you almost to the end on that one as well. Okay, so dealing with the same circle, I'm going to redraw it because I'm going to have to keep labeling it with different numbers. Okay, so I have D, center C, E, and F. And on number 8, it gives us that DE is 8. And EF is 4. So just this little piece here is 4. Find the radius. Well, this is the radius here, and this is the radius here. They're both the radius, the radii. Can you see that? Because it comes from the center out. So that's the radius, that's the radius. So it looks a little wonky. I'm just going to redraw it out here. Here's what I have. I have R. I have 8. I have that this piece here is R, and this piece here is 4. Okay, what does that mean? I'm going to redraw it again. What this means is this is R, this is 8, and this whole segment here is R plus 4. Looks a little wonky, I know. And we haven't seen one like this before, but we have the tools. I promise you, we have the tools to do this. So that's R, that's 8, and this whole segment together is R plus 4. R, 4, altogether, R plus 4. So you'd have R squared plus 8 squared equals the quantity of r plus 4 squared. Now here's the cool part. Here's where we have to use some prior knowledge. Remember that you do not distribute exponents. You are going to have to write that twice and double distribute. We're going a few units back. Double distribution is something we've talked about in class. We've done units on it. Double distribution. Okay, why do we do that? Because quantity squared, when it's not a monomial, you cannot distribute the exponent. You have to write it twice. R squared plus 64 equals r squared plus 4r plus 4r plus 16. R squared plus 8r plus 16. And first thing I'm going to do is subtract the r squares. And that's nice because they cancel out on both sides. If they did not, we would have to factor and solve. Lucky for us, we do not. And this is about as far as I'm going to take you. You can finish it from there. Okay, so you got 64 equals 8r plus 16. All you have to do is subtract, divide, and you have your radius. I know, it's pretty hefty. Okay, that's number 8. Next one I'm going to talk about is number 9. Okay, number 9, same picture again. There's D, there's E, center is C, and there's F. All right, what is number 9 giving us? The measure of angle C is 42 degrees. What's the measure of angle E? Okay, so we're dealing with this triangle here, so we don't even need to worry about F on this one. We're dealing with this triangle, and what did I just say on the previous problem? That this is always going to be a right angle. When you're dealing with the radius and a tangent, it's always going to make a right angle. So that right there is enough. You're looking for the measure of angle E, so 42 plus x plus 90 equals 180. You can get that easily. 42 plus angle x plus 90 equals 180 because it's the inside angles of a triangle. All right, that was number 9. Okay, moving on. Number 10. If the radius is 3 and LM is 2, what is KL? Okay, so I'm just going to redraw that picture. And again, I'm talking about number 10 here. Okay, here's K. Here is J. Tangent line L. Now mine does not look proportional to the drawing, but we get the point. Okay, let's list. The radius is 3, so this is the radius and this is the radius. Remember, that's a 90-degree angle because we have a radius and a tangent line. Okay, LM is 2. What is KL? All right, right triangle, Pythagorean's theorem. I'm just going to redraw it out here. This is what I have. I have this is 3. KL is what I'm looking for. And this segment here is 3 and 2 put together, so it is 5. And you can finish it from there. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. 3 squared plus x squared equals 5 squared. Write that down and work it out. 3 squared plus x squared equals 5 squared. Okay, moving right along. I am going to talk about number 11. Okay, redrawing that picture once again. Okay, I have K, J, L, and M. Oh, KL is congruent to JK. Okay, let's see. KL is congruent to JK. Now, it doesn't look it in my picture because mine's not drawn as nice as theirs, but we get the point. what is the measure of angle J? Okay, can you see first that I'm dealing with this triangle here? And there's two things I know about this triangle. One, that it's a right triangle because there's a tangent and a radius. Two, it's isosceles because these two sides are congruent. It gave us that. KL is congruent to JK. All right. What's the measure of angle J? Well, this is angle J here, and what do we know about base angles? Base angles are congruent because it's an isosceles triangle. You've got it from there. X plus 90 equals 180. These two angles are congruent, so X and X, that's 90. They all add up to 180. You've got it from there. All right. Lastly, error analysis. A classmate insists that YZ is not a tangent to X. Explain how to show that your classmate is wrong. Okay, first off, I'm not going to redraw it because this is the only picture we're using for one problem. All right, so your classmate has this. He says, or she says, 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 1 plus 3 squared, and it doesn't work, so it's not tangent. Okay. Now, first off, why are they doing Pythagorean's theorem? Because if the radius and if this is the tangent, that would be 90 degrees. If this is a tangent to the radius, that would be 90 degrees. If it is 90 degrees, then 3 squared plus 4 squared would equal that line squared. So here's what the classmate did. The classmate said, there's the 3 squared, there's the 4 squared, and then he did 1 plus 3. Can you see where the student messed up? He put 1 plus 3 is 4, and let's test it. 3 squared is 9, plus 4 squared is 16, equals 3 plus 1 is 4, and 4 squared is 16, and that does not work. That is correct. But where did the student mess up is right here. That little segment there is not 3. Remember the ones that we drew earlier, it's a radius. They're congruent, 3 and 3. So in this case, what is that little segment right there? It's not 3, it is what? It is 4 because it's a radius. A radius and a radius are always congruent. So you can test it now. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals, what's 1 plus 4? 5 squared. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. Check if it works. If it does, then it is a tangent line and we're good. All right, that is it for this section of quiz questions.